The cry that wouldn't stop for 3 days. The cry didn't stop. It echoed through the metal hulls of the damaged refugee ship. The sound was sharp, high, and full of pain. Everyone heard it. Everyone ignored it. The cry came from one of the Fae. Lower cargo sections, dark, half-destroyed, and full of forgotten things. No one wanted to go down there. It was cold, dirty, and filled with broken machines. But the real reason was fear. The sound didn't belong to a human. It was alien. They said an alien child had been left behind during the chaos, a baby. No one knew its species. No one knew who left it there. Some said the parents died during the last raid. Others said it was born in secret. But one thing was clear. The crying had not stopped. The crew had reported it. But the command said to ignore it. We are low on supplies. We have too many mouths to feed already, said the captain. So they walked past it, day after day, morning and night. Some wore earplugs. Others raised music in their cabins. A few even joked about it. They called it the ghost cry. But not everyone could ignore it. A man, tall, with a scar running down his jaw, sat alone in the ship's dining corner. His name was Jaren. No one knew much about him. He didn't talk. Unless he had to. People said he used to be a soldier. Some said he had killed over 100 enemies during the Zarnak War. Others said he had lost everything and wanted to disappear. Jaren always ate alone. He never joined meetings. He never laughed, but he always listened, especially to the sound. Others tried to block the cry. On the 4th day, during the silent shift, Jaren stood up. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. He just walked. His boots were heavy, his eyes tired. But his direction was clear, down into the forgotten section of the ship. He walked past flickering lights, past broken doors, and into the cold belly of the ship. The closer he got, the louder the sound became. The crying was raw now, weak, as if the little throat that screamed it was giving up. Jaren found the door. It was half open. Behind it was darkness, dust, and silence, except for that one broken cry. He stepped inside. No flashlight. Just quiet steps and careful eyes. And then he saw it, a small shape, curled up inside an old food storage container. Its skin was pale, blue, its limbs thin and shaking. It had no clothes, only a torn blanket. Its eyes were closed and tears had dried on its cheeks. The moment Jaren came near, the baby's eyes opened. They glowed, not brightly, but softly like fading stars. The crying stopped. Jaren didn't speak. He just knelt down. Slowly, he took off his jacket, thick, warm, old, and wrapped the baby in it. The child didn't resist. It didn't cry. It just looked at him with eyes full of something strange. Not fear, not pain, but something deeper. As if it had seen him before. As if it knew. He lifted the baby. Its weight was nothing, almost like carrying air. But Jaren held it close, as if it was the most important thing he had touched in years. He walked back up through the halls. People stared, some backed away. A few looked angry. Why did you bring it up? Someone whispered. Jaren didn't answer. You're going to get us in trouble, said another. Still no answer. He entered the sleeping bay and found an old heating pipe near the wall. He sat down, placed the baby on his lap, and held it close. The baby made a soft sound, almost like a sigh. And then, silence. For the first time in 4 days, the ship was quiet. People didn't know what to do. Some were angry. Others were confused. But no one stopped him. Because deep inside they knew they had heard that cry for too long. And now, because of one silent man, it was gone. The baby slept. Jaren stayed still. No one knew what would happen next. The ship was still low on supplies. Command would soon hear about this. Questions would come. Orders would follow. But for now, just for now, the only sound was the soft hum of the engines. And for the first time in days, it felt like peace. The man with the scar whispers moved faster than light on the refugee ship. They saw him, holding it. He didn't say a word, just walked through the corridors like it was his own child. Is he insane? It's not even human. People spoke in hushed voices, but no one dared confront him. Not face to face. Jaren, the quiet man with the scar, had always kept to himself. He wasn't a troublemaker. But he wasn't soft either. Some remembered the look in his eyes during that docking accident last year, when 3 crew members panicked, and only Jaren ran in to shut the leaking valve. He didn't do it for praise. He just did it. Then walked away before anyone could thank him. Now he was the center of a new kind of attention. The alien baby hadn't cried once since he picked it up. Not one sound. It was wrapped in his jacket, like a newborn. Its tiny blue fingers sometimes curled around the fabric. Its strange glowing eyes blinked slowly, never leaving Jaren's face. The baby didn't seem scared. Not anymore. Jaren found a quiet spot near the old engine access room, warm enough to keep the child safe, dark enough to stay unnoticed. He barely moved. He didn't eat much. He didn't sleep much. He just watched the baby. And the baby watched him. He didn't know why he was doing it. Maybe it was the sound. That endless, helpless cry that had drilled into his skull for days. Or maybe it was the way no one else even tried. But deep down, something had shifted inside him. Something that had been frozen for years, since the war. Since the last time he held anything that small and that fragile. A knock came on the pipe. A woman in a maintenance uniform stood there, holding a small bottle of nutrition gel. "For the baby," she said. "Don't tell anyone I gave it." Jaren took it without a word, nodded once. She left. The next day, someone else dropped off a small blanket. A third person left a box of heated claws. No one wanted to be seen helping him, but something had changed. The silence, the crying, both were gone. In their place, there was something strange and powerful. Peace. But not everyone liked it. A security officer named Trex approached Jaren that evening. His armor was polished. His voice was sharp. "You can't keep that thing. Orders are clear. Any unknown alien life forms must be reported for inspection." Jaren didn't look up. He just kept feeding the baby a few drops of the gel. Trex stepped closer. "If you don't hand it over, I'll report you myself." Jaren finally spoke. His voice deep and calm. "You'll try." Trex froze. Jaren wasn't threatening. He wasn't loud. But the way he said it, like a fact, like a quiet truth carved in stone, made the officer hesitate. Trex left. Later, someone left a note outside Jaren's room. Only 3 words. "They are watching." He burned the note. The baby slept soundly that night. Curled up against Jaren's chest, its body finally relaxed. Jaren didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But he knew one thing. He would not let it cry again. Eyes that knew pain. The baby's eyes didn't blink like a normal child's. They stared, long, deep, almost ancient. Like they'd seen something too big for such a small body. Jaren noticed it that morning when the child woke in his arms. There were no tears, no fear. Just eyes that seemed to be asking a question without using words. It made him feel strange. Not afraid, not sad, something else. Something he hadn't felt in years. The alien baby wasn't just surviving. It was watching. He brought it to a quiet corner near the rear oxygen vents. The air was warm there, and the lights were dim. A perfect place to stay hidden. Jaren didn't talk much, but his hands were gentle. He wiped the baby's face with clean cloths. Tried feeding it more gel. The baby didn't drink much, but it didn't cry either. It simply looked at him. With those big, glowing eyes that seemed older than time. It wasn't just hungry. It wasn't just cold. It was lonely. And Jaren knew that feeling too well. Once, during the Zarnak siege, he'd seen a soldier die with that same look. A young recruit, barely trained, shot in the leg, left behind. Jaren had carried him 6 kilometers through dust and fire. The boy hadn't screamed. He just stared, with wide, empty eyes that said, "Why me? Why am I still here?" The baby had those same eyes. By now, rumors were spreading like fire. Some said the baby was a weapon. Others believed it was cursed, that its cries had caused systems to glitch and dreams to turn dark. Still, no one dared go near Jaren. Only one old man, a ship's cleaner named Ren, quietly sat across from him one night. "You see it, don't you?" Ren asked. Jaren didn't answer. Ren nodded anyway. Those eyes, they know pain. Later, while the baby slept against his chest, Jaren finally let his thoughts rise. He remembered his brother's child, the one he never met, the one who died during the Earth evacuation. He remembered holding a photo long after the cities burned, a tiny smile, a wrinkled blanket, a life that never got to grow. Now, here was a child with no name, no species, no one to claim it, and yet, the moment Jaren held it, it had stopped crying. What did that mean? He touched the baby's forehead. It was warm now, not cold like before. The skin was soft, smooth, but underneath he could feel something faint. A rhythm, a quiet pulse that didn't feel quite natural. The baby wasn't sick, but it wasn't ordinary either. It was changing. At one point, the baby looked up and reached a tiny hand toward his chest, right over his scar. Its fingers brushed the old wound as if it knew that's where his pain lived, and Jaren froze. He didn't breathe, didn't move, because for a second, just 1 second, he felt something pass between them. Not words, not images, just knowing. The baby wasn't just surviving, it was searching for connection, for meaning, for someone who wouldn't turn away. And now it had found him. Jaren held the baby tighter, not out of fear, but because for the first time in years, someone, even a small, glowing, alien someone, had looked at him like he mattered, and he wasn't going to let that go. The truth in the scan. Jaren didn't trust scanners. Too many lies had been buried in cold machines. During the war, he'd watched wounded soldiers be declared fit for duty just to be sent back out and die. He'd seen whole colonies marked safe when the air was poison. Scanners told what they were programmed to tell, nothing more. But this time, he needed the truth. The baby was changing fast. Its skin had lost some of the pale blue tint. It was warming up, its fingers were growing stronger, and its eyes, they no longer just looked. They searched. He had to know what this child was, not because he feared it, but because others would. Late at night, when most of the crew was asleep, Jaren slipped into the med bay. The security lock was old. He'd seen better locks on food crates. It only took him 12 seconds. He carried the baby in a sling close to his chest. Its eyes glowed faintly, but it made no sound, almost like it knew this had to be done in silence. The scanner table blinked to life. A soft green light slid over the child's small body. Jaren watched the monitor. Species, unknown. Age, estimated 3.7 cycles. Vital signs, stabilizing. Energy signature, mixed. Then came a pause. The screen froze. New text appeared. Warning, genetic irregularity detected. Hybrid DNA detected. Human strain confirmed. Jaren's breath caught. Human? He blinked and read it again. Confirmed. The baby was part human. His hand tightened on the side of the table. Not in fear, in rage, not at the baby. At whoever had done this. This child wasn't just abandoned. It was created. Someone had mixed human DNA with something alien, illegally, unnaturally, and then they left it behind, crying and alone, waiting to die in a cold storage room. Jaren stared at the screen, his face calm, but his jaw clenched. He didn't know whether this was a failed experiment, a secret weapon, or something worse. But one thing was now certain. If the wrong people saw this report, they wouldn't help the child. They would end it. He erased the scan log, burned it from the backup files, disconnected the medbay from the ship system for maintenance. Then he picked up the child. The baby looked at him. It had no words, but it didn't need them. Jaren now understood why it cried so much, why it looked at him the way it did. It was never just hungry, never just scared. It had been mourning. Because somewhere inside, it knew what it was, and that no one wanted it. Until now. That night, Jaren didn't return to his corner near the oxygen pipes. He went deeper, into the lower levels of the ship, where even engineers didn't go anymore. Past broken reactor doors, through old war scars in the hull, to a forgotten room sealed since the conflict. He had found it years ago. It had power, warmth, privacy. He laid the baby on a clean crate and sat beside it. The child was part human, and no one else needed to know. Not yet. Because now it had someone willing to fight for it. Asterisk hunted through the halls. The order came. Without warning, locate the human male. He has unauthorized custody of a classified life form. Seize both immediately. Jaren's name wasn't even mentioned, just the human male. To the command deck, he was a problem, not a person. To the baby in his arms, he was the only thing keeping it alive. They came at dawn. 3 armed guards, full armor, pulse rifles ready. No warning knock. Just a hiss as the door to his old bunk burst open, but it was empty. Jaren was already gone. He had known this day would come. That's why he never stayed in one place for long. Why he used the old tunnels and war-damaged passages no one bothered to repair. Places that weren't on the new maps. The baby was wrapped against his chest, hidden under layers of cloth and heat patches. It didn't cry. It didn't move. It trusted him completely now. And Jaren moved like a ghost. Security scanned corridor after corridor. Deck 3 clear. Sector 9 hallway empty. Vent shafts are cold. But they never saw him. He moved under them, through air shafts clogged with dust, behind walls still warped from plasma fire years ago. He had memorized this ship during the first month on board, not because he wanted to escape, but because he didn't trust safety to last. Now that knowledge was saving them both. He reached a forgotten access room behind the hydro systems. There was no light, no sound, just the low hum of machines working behind the walls. He closed the door quietly, sat down, let himself breathe. The baby was warm against him. Its small hand gripped his jacket. It didn't speak, but something had changed. It didn't just feel like a baby anymore. It felt aware, like it knew it was being hunted. He pulled out the only thing he had left, a chipped comlink from the war. Still worked on a frequency. No one used anymore. He hesitated, then activated it. Alari, if you're out there, I need you. A pause, then static. Then silence. He waited. And just before he shut it off, a voice answered. You told me never to call this line again. Jaren didn't smile. I wouldn't, unless it was for something that mattered. What is it? A child. Another pause. You? No, something else. It's not just alien. It's part human. And they want to destroy it. The voice grew quiet, then cold. Meet me in Cargo Bay 12. 1 hour. Come alone. Don't bring your ghost stories. I'm not asking you to believe. Just bring med gear and don't be followed. He shut off the comm and looked down. The baby had opened its eyes again, still glowing, still watching. But this time, it lifted a hand, touched his face. And for just 1 second, Jaren felt something that shook him. Not fear, not pain. A memory. But not his. A silver lab. A scream. A door slamming shut. A scientist with gloves whispering, "We shouldn't have done this." Jaren pulled away, breathing hard. The baby dropped its hand and blinked slowly. It hadn't just touched him. It had shown him. In that moment, Jaren understood. This child wasn't just created in a lab. It remembered. It carried pieces of the ones who made it, and the pain they left behind. Now they wanted to erase all of that, and he wouldn't let them. Outside, boots echoed again. Guards moving fast. But Jaren was already gone, moving deeper, toward Cargo Bay 12, and behind him, the hunt was getting louder. Messages in the dark Cargo Bay 12 hadn't been used in years. It was a graveyard of old crates, rusted loaders, and forgotten supplies, the kind of place even rats avoided. The lights flickered weakly, and the air smelled like burnt oil. But for Jaren, it was perfect. No cameras, no patrols, just shadows. He entered through a maintenance hatch, the baby pressed close to his chest. Its body was warmer now. Too warm. Not from fever, from something else. Its skin pulsed faintly beneath the cloth, almost like it was generating energy. Jaren didn't say anything. He just kept moving. The meeting point was behind a stack of sealed metal drums. When he arrived, no one was there yet. He placed the child on a soft bundle of cloth he'd prepared earlier. The baby looked up at him, tired, but calm. Then he heard the door slide open. Alari stepped in. She looked exactly the same sharp eyes, same careful steps, same way of watching a room before speaking. But her uniform was different. Civilian now, no rank, no flag. "You look terrible," she said softly. "You came," Jaren replied. "I shouldn't have." She looked down. Then her eyes fell on the baby. And for a moment, all the calm left her face. "What is that?" Jaren didn't answer. He activated a portable scanner and replayed the data, the hybrid DNA, the strange growth, the memories. Alari stared, then slowly knelt beside the child. "This isn't natural," she whispered. "It's evolving, fast." "It remembers things," Jaren said. "Things it shouldn't know." Alari looked at him. "You don't understand what this is. If it spreads, if others find out, they'll kill it," he finished. "Yes." She stood up, pacing. "There were rumors, hidden programs, cross-species testing. But we thought they shut it down after the Earth Accords. We were told it failed. Looks like it didn't. Then this child, it's living proof of crimes no one wants to admit." Jaren didn't flinch. "Can you save it?" Alari hesitated. "If I had a lab, equipment, time, maybe, but not here, not with guards on every level." He looked at her. "Then we run." Before she could answer, a sharp tone echoed through the bay, a signal, short, coded. Jaren's eyes narrowed. "They're coming." Alari turned. "We've been tracked." Lights flashed outside the cargo doors. She grabbed her bag, reached for the baby, then paused. "It's glowing." They both looked. The child's chest pulsed with a soft white light. It wasn't just heat. It was energy. Building, shifting. And then the baby looked up, eyes fully lit now. Not with fear, but warning. Jaren backed away. "Something's happening." The light grew. The crates around them vibrated. And then silence. The light blinked off. The baby exhaled. The room went dark again. What just happened? Alari whispered. "I think it protected itself." No. That was more than defense. That was communication. Alari knelt and checked her scanner. There's a spike in psionic output, not just brain waves. It broadcasted something. To who? She stared at the screen. I don't know. But someone out there just heard it. Outside, footsteps. Neared. Jaren and Alari grabbed what they could. They had no more time to hide. But now, the child wasn't just a secret dot, it was a signal, and someone, human, alien, or worse, was already listening. What the human did, they didn't have time to think. The guards were almost at the door. Alari packed her tools in silence, eyes darting between the baby and Jaren. The child wasn't moving now, but something had changed. Its skin shimmered softly, like starlight underwater. Jaren knew. This wasn't just a child anymore. It was becoming something else. Something powerful. And someone, somewhere, wanted that power erased. The old maintenance vent behind. Cargo Bay 12 had one last route. An abandoned tech chamber once used during ship repairs. Most didn't even know it existed. That's where they ran. Jaren carried the baby. Alari followed, scanning for life signs. The corridor was quiet, but the ship was waking up. Alerts had gone out. Crew members were locking down doors. Patrols were spreading. This won't work much longer, Alari whispered. They're going to find us. Jaren didn't stop. They'll find me. Not the baby, she turned. What do you mean? He didn't answer. Not yet. The tech chamber looked like a tomb. Broken lights, shattered panels, dust thick on every surface. But one thing still worked, a deep cycle energy pod used for emergency power transfers. The kind of machine that could stabilize unstable biology. Or sacrifice one life to sustain another. Alari saw the look in his eyes. No, she said. Immediately. You're not doing this. Jaren gently placed the baby inside the chamber cradle. It's the only way. You don't even know if this will work. I know I can't keep running. I know I can't protect it forever, but I can give it a future. Alari stepped forward. You're giving it yourself. He looked at the child. It looked back, those wide, glowing eyes full of silent understanding. No fear, only sadness, maybe. It remembered him. Maybe it understood what he was doing. Either way, it didn't cry. Jaren stepped into the pod. Pressed the manual override. The lights turned red. The machine began to hum. Alari shouted, but it was too late. The cradle closed. Energy surged through the system, flowing from him into the baby. Stabilizing cells. Boosting life force. Transferring memory, warmth, humanity. Jaren's hands trembled. His breath slowed. But he kept his eyes open on the baby until the last second. Then the chamber went dark. When the hatch opened again, there was no sound, only a soft, pulsing light from the baby's chest. It was breathing steadily. Its skin no longer shimmered. It glowed, healthy, whole. Beside the cradle, Jaren's jacket lay folded, his scarred hands gone. Alari stood in silence, and the child, no longer just an experiment, no longer abandoned, reached out. Touched the jacket. Then, slowly, it stood. Not with weakness. Not like a baby, but with balance. With strength. And those same eyes. Still watching. But now, they held something new. Purpose. Word spread days later. The dangerous hybrid was gone. Cargo Bay 12 had collapsed during a systems failure. No one knew why, but some claimed they saw something, a small figure, glowing softly, walking into the unknown, wrapped in a human's jacket, with eyes full of memory and a future. No one could stop now.